So you guys kind of moved into the like, and this is the era we were talking about because we were saying, Dino doesn't get enough credit for being, one of the kings of this genre or this part of metal, this electronic thrash. But like the demanufacturer, obsolete era, I guess talk a little bit about that era.
Well, going back, you can't talk about those eras until you talk about the beginning of the first album, The Soul of a New Machine.
Sure.
We went in to do that record, and we pretty much wore our influences on our sleeve. We were like a mixture between Godflesh, Napalm Death, Carcass, Helmet. I had a lot of groove in there with songs like Scapegoat. And there's a song called Martyr, which is the very first song on the record. So the riff to Martyr, it's actually a techno riff.
Oh, wow.
So we would play a lot of backyard parties when we first started in East LA, South Central. And after we would play, there would be a DJ that would come on and they would turn into a rave. So we play like a fucking death metal grindcore show. And then afterwards it would turn into like a backyard party club where they would have DJs playing, early techno music.
Still a very common thing in East LA.
Yeah, well, there you go. You probably understand more than people out in Nebraska or Ohio. You know what I mean? You probably would get it more.
I'm in Minnesota. I'm not into that stuff.
My son's band just played.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, you could be into it, not be into it. But if you went to a backyard death metal show and you saw an old school band like Terrorizer fucking playing grindcore, and then right when the drums were being broken down because the show was over, a DJ would come and be already set up playing techno, and you're still there drinking with your buddies, saying, "Fuck it, we're just gonna hang out and check out all these chicks."
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's so great.
It didn't matter what if you were into that music or not. You were just having a good time, and that's pretty much what it was. So listening to that music, I started getting influenced by it too, because a lot of times these techno guys, they had synth lines. They had like synth. I call them synth riffs. Yeah. They were riffs, because when I heard them, I heard riffs when I heard those synth lines in techno music. Like I'll give you an easy example. Mortal Kombat. Yep. You can turn it into a riff. You can turn it into a riff.
You can go back to those old video games.
Correct. So if you look at the song Martyr, the actual riff of Martyr is a techno riff.
That's crazy.
I just heard. And so that's kind of like where the birth of that idea came from.
You're an LA native, right?
No.
Where are you from originally?
I'm a California native, but I'm not an LA native. I was born in El Centro, California.
Okay.
Which is about 3.5, 4 hours away from LA.
I know where El Centro is.
Yeah, it's down there. So it's next to the Mexican border.
Gotcha.
But anyways, just listening to electronic music, techno music, and we were just, at that time we were living in Los Angeles. It was the late 80s, early 90s, and it was just a slew of music coming out that was just amazing. Early industrial music, techno music, death metal, grindcore, early industrial stuff that was just like heavy stuff like Godflesh and of course Ministry and Nine Inch Nails and all that stuff. And we were just a sponge of all that music, and we just wanted to add all those elements into our music. But it wasn't until Demanufacture where we really solidified our sound. But, I mean, to this day, no one has been able to prove us wrong that Fear Factory were the first band that added melodic and heavy vocals in a song. Now, people's like, well, this band had melodic vocals on one song and they had heavy on vocals on this song. Yeah, but they didn't combine them together. They were doing those. They were like the clean vocals were in one song only, and then heavy vocals on another song. They never combined them. And so I still haven't been able to find a band that's done that yet.
You could maybe say Mike Patton a little bit, but I think in your genre,
where? Tell me what song.
Not until Angel Dust, right?
Where?
On like
I was there. I was there when they were making those records. Tell me where.
Caffeine or something like that. Maybe.
Remember? Yeah. I mean,
but still, to your point, not in metal, not in heavy metal, like deathcore type metal. No way. No one.
No, well, just not in the way that we did it. Definitely not. And I don't really. I mean, I know that Mike Patton loved death metal and all that kind of stuff, but really don't see the combination of what he did. Billy Gould was one of my good friends at that time.
Totally.
And so I was there when they were making.
Also, Faith No More is like not necessarily a metal band.
Well, it doesn't matter if they were metal or not. Just tell me a band. And if you're talking about Angel Dust, that was after Fear Factory.
Sure. Around that time, but I'm not arguing with you. I don't disagree.
We already had Soul of a New Machine out. We already had Soul of a New Machine out when that record came out. As a matter of fact, in the video Midlife Crisis, you could see Billy Gould wearing a Fear Factory
shirt.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't.
I'm talking about before us. Like
before
no one has been able to show me. And a lot of people have argued with me about this, but no one has been able to show me any proof of anybody who's done that.
Who's done like the screen?
I'm not trying to toot my own horn because I already know what this is going to go on social media and everybody's going to care.
Did you just experience that this last week, Dino?
Oh, I already know everybody's going to tear it apart, and that's fine. They can do that, but
because I heard you wanted to be a new metal band.
No, that was
I'm joking with you.
You definitely misunderstood there.
Yeah, give them something to talk about. Hey,
no kidding. You know, one thing I like about you, Dino, you're not afraid to take it on the internet and give it back to the trolls. So,
of course.
Yeah, I love that.
They can suck it.